Hello and welcome back to Green Money Momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and today we're once again going to be talking all about the stock DJT. That's right, Trump Media and Technology Group. And what a pump we saw in the stock today. So the stock jumped by 11% and is now sitting at the price of $26.30. And this is pretty huge because when we zoom out and look at the last year in DJT, we can see that the levels I have drawn out here on screen between $21 and $27 sit as a major support for the long-term chart of this stock. So in the last year, we have seen DJT trade up as high as $30, $40, $50, but each time it did fall back down, but it did tap right into this zone before we did see a big recovery. The only time we have been below this spot was right before the elections, where we then did see a swift recovery back up. And then most recently, with the harsh market conditions, there has been a lot of sell-off in most plays, and DJT was with all of them. And so there was a pretty nasty downtrend in DJT, but recently we have broken out of that downtrend, and now we are building in an upwards bullish trend. And the overall stock market was pretty green today, and that was because of this. That is because, as this reads here, President Trump said he has no intention of firing Fed Chair Jerome Powell. So there was some fear, uncertainty, and doubt about that recently because, as we know, Trump is trying to pressure Jerome Powell to lower rates, and Jerome Powell doesn't want to lower rates. So there's a little bit of a debacle going there. But also, Trump did soften his tone on the tariffs for the Chinese imports. And this is no surprise to me. We have been talking on this channel how the tariffs are just a bigger negotiating tactic behind what Trump is doing. And each time with the tariffs, they were rolled back, and the fear, uncertainty, and doubt behind them wasn't as bad as actually what came. So we saw this in January, February, March, April, now May, where there's all this fear about the tariffs. The markets sell off. Everybody thinks everything's going to be super expensive, and then all of a sudden the stance is softened. And so with the tariffs, like we have been saying, this is just a bigger negotiating tactic behind Trump, and this is no surprise that this has happened. This is why we have been loading up into DJT while the stock was low. And so there is all that news. And then also, if you missed it yesterday, there was a press release, and Trump Media announced the details about their new ETF with the TruthFi brand and Crypto.com and Charles Schwab. So we have also been talking about this on this channel for a long time, going all the way back into last year, just about how Trump and DJT, the stock, how involved they are with cryptocurrency, and how Trump, the president, is trying to push us more into the mass adoption of cryptocurrency. And so Trump Media is very involved with cryptocurrency. They have all these crypto ETFs they're working on. We also have all their investments with Charles Schwab. And so this is just a longer plan behind Trump. So the Trump family is very involved into cryptocurrency. And so the news of that has sent the stock up. Along with yesterday, we did have the new SEC chairman sworn into office, and that is Paul Atkins. And so this is very positive because, talking about the cryptocurrency, well, Paul Atkins is very pro crypto, and he is very pro liberation in the markets. And so with Paul Atkins being the new SEC chairman, he was selected by Trump last year. This is very positive, and as we've been talking about with the storyline behind this stock, it is just pushing us more into the mass adoption into cryptocurrency. And so with DJT, we do see a lot of intrinsic value behind this stock, again, with all their cryptocurrency investments and then also their truth investments as well. We know a lot of investors don't look at it this way. They look at DJT just as a meme stock, and a lot of investors have looked at just the financials behind DJT, didn't see the best balance sheet. But again, as we've been saying on this channel, they are just building a company, and with that company, of course, comes some financial bleeding. And so I do believe their financial sheet will get better as time goes on, but there is a lot of non-believers that are against this stock, and a lot of those are short sellers. And so recently, Trump Media did press the U.S. regulator, the SEC, to look at the short selling that is going on behind this stock and how there might be some illegal naked short selling. We have been talking about this on this stock for a long time, how this stock should be worth a lot more than it is, but there has been a lot of halting and manipulation. And so on the run up we saw, right, going into the elections, there was a lot of halting and manipulation right there, and then also going into the inauguration as well. So we saw this stock sometimes get halted to where it wasn't tradable for minutes at a time. That does severely hurt the stock, and so that has hurt the stock with the short sellers. And then, like we talk about, many look at this just as a meme stock. Well, when we do pull up this trend here, this is the DJT Reddit mentions. We can see that the mentions are finally starting to go back up. So again, we believe in this stock heavily because of the intrinsic value. But with stocks, a lot of the times, fear of missing out and momentum, of course, new investors looking at a play can be your best friend. And so with DJT, with all the news about the tariffs, the new SEC chairman, if the markets do flip, possibly a rate cut soon, DJT being in that meme stock category, we could see a lot of volume and price action in this stock. And there's still a lot of ways to run because, again, many look at this as a meme stock, but the volume hasn't quite returned back. So this is showing the volume in DJT, and we can see that the volume was a lot higher in November. So when this stock does get a lot of crazy momentum, I bet the price action behind this is going to be absolutely nuts. And for me, I've been playing this stock in two ways. I am holding for the long term, so I have some shares that I bought before Trump was even elected into office, and I plan on holding them for the term of his presidency. But I have also been playing with options contracts along the way, and wow, the options market has been going absolutely bonkers when it comes to DJT. I have seen a bunch of 100% plus gains in the stock, and the momentum is just flying. And so that's why, with great plays and opportunities during moments when the market is down, that is when I personally will usually buy into these opportunities with some long-term bullish option contracts. If you've never played with option contracts before, I definitely recommend you do so, especially if you have the right strategy, as small movements in the stock can be absolutely massive in those options contracts. If you've never played with options but you would like to learn more, I might make a video about that in the future. So if you do have an interest, please drop a comment in the section below. Just say something like, I want to learn about options contracts, and I may make that video here in the near future. But overall, DJT, the stock, is gaining a lot of value. This is no surprise to us long-term investors. We know the intrinsic value behind DJT, and I believe that this stock is just going to continue to gain value and momentum. Currently, as we sit between the $21 to $27 range, I believe that this is a major support for DJT. So maybe we could drop a little from where we're at now, but I don't see us dropping very far. And I think overall, the pattern building for the future is very positive. But I would love to hear what everyone else has to say about DJT. So please drop a comment in the section below. Please leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video.